The Ranthambore Fort is located 13 kilometers away from the Sawai Madhopur city in Rajasthan. From the capital city of Jaipur, it is at a distance of about 190 kilometers. The fort is located within the Ranthambore National Forest. It was conceptualized and built as a forest fort. The dense forest around it with wild animals was to act as the first line of defense. There is a forest police checkpost for all visitors to the fort. From this gate, you will have to drive through the forest for about 5 kilometers to reach the fort parking area. On the way, you will encounter the Bada Darwaza or the big gate which signals that you are entering the fort premises. The ramparts of the fort were built on the foundations of hard rock. The steep rock on which the fort walls are built is around 200 meters high. The walls were very high, making it impossible for the enemy to scale the structure. Narrow winding pathways with strong doors were created to control the entry into the fort. This pathway zigzags up the hill, passing through a number of gates. Before we proceed further, if you are someone who enjoys content related to historical places in India, do subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button on the right bottom corner of this video. Brief history of the Ranthambore Fort. Ranthambore Fort is one of the oldest forts in Rajasthan. The exact origin of the fort is still unknown. The fort is said to have been built by Maharaja Jayanta in the 5th century AD. The Yadavas ruled over it till the 12th century until they were defeated by Prithviraj III or Prithviraj Chauhan of the Chahmana dynasty, also known as the Chauhans. In 1192 AD, Muhammad Ghori defeated and killed Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj's son Govindraj was a vassal of the Ghoris at Ajayameru, modern-day Ajmer. Govindraj's uncle Hari Raja did not like this. He rebelled against the Ghurids. Govindraj took shelter in Ranthambore or Ranthambore as we know it now. Hari Raja, who had become the new Chahmana ruler, was soon defeated by the Ghurids in 1194 AD, and Ajmer was taken away from the Chauhans. Govindraj was allowed to rule from Ranthambore as a feudatory of the Ghurids. After him, his son Balhana ruled as a feudatory under Iltutmish of the slave dynasty. Balhana's elder son Prahlada succeeded him, but he died in a lion hunt. After this, Veera Narayana, Prahlada's son, became the ruler, but he is said to have been invited to Delhi by Iltutmish and poisoned. Iltutmish then captured the fort in 1226 AD and held it until his death in 1236 AD. After the death of Veera Narayana, his father's younger brother Vagbata became the Chahmana king. He won back Ranthambore from the Delhi Sultanate around 1236 AD during the rule of Razia Sultana, the daughter of Iltutmish. Vagbata successfully protected the fort against the Delhi Sultanate's invasions in 1248 AD and 1253 AD. Vagbata was succeeded by Jaitra Simha. In 1282 AD, Hamira Deva succeeded his father Jaitra Simha. Hamira was the most illustrious Chauhan ruler. He expanded the boundaries of the kingdom and further strengthened the Ranthambore Fort. In 1290 AD, Hamira successfully resisted an attack from Jalaluddin Khilji, the uncle and father-in-law of Alauddin Khilji. Around 1299 AD, when Alauddin Khilji was at the throne of the Khilji dynasty, few Mongol soldiers mutinied against him. They sought shelter from Hamira, who offered asylum to two of these officers, Muhammad Shah, also known as Mahim Shah, and Kabru, along with their followers. Alauddin sent a firman to Hamir, asking to submit these officers, which Hamira rejected, resulting in invasions from the Delhi Sultanate. The combined army of two of Alauddin's generals, Ulugh Khan and Nusrat Khan, besieged the Ranthambore fort. Hamira and his soldiers defended the fort with all their might. Nusrat Khan was killed by a stone that was hurled from the top of the fort. Hamira's army then came out of the fort and chased Alauddin's army away. Alauddin then personally led an attack in 1301 AD with a larger army from various provinces and besieged the fort. During the prolonged siege, a famine-like situation was created within the fort, and there were large-scale defections from Hamira's camp. Hamira's officers, Ratipala and Ranamalla, who were sent to negotiate with Alauddin, defected to Alauddin's side. Hamira decided to come out with his loyal soldiers and fought to his death. The ladies of the fort, led by his chief queen Ranga Devi, committed Jauhar. The Mongol rebel Muhammad Shah, whom Alauddin was pursuing, was captured and executed. Although Alauddin had promised amnesty, the traitors Ranamal and Ratipal were killed by Alauddin Khilji. This is the map of the Ranthambore Fort. The first gateway that you will encounter is the Navlaka Pole. Facing east, it has an arched entrance and width of 3.2 meters. It has provisions for guard rooms and gun slits. A copper plate affixed to the wooden gate states that the current doors were provided by Sawai Jagat Singh of Jaipur. A short ascent and you will reach the Hathia Pole or Elephant Gate. It has natural rock on one side and fort walls on the other side. Besides this gate, there is a statue that is symbolic of the traitors of Hamira, Ranamal and Ratipal. Even to this day, people throw stones on this statue before they proceed further into the fort. A rectangular guard room is built over the gate. The third gate is Ganesh Pole and there is an idol of Lord Ganesh nearby. The fourth gate is the Andheri Pole. It has a tower for watching enemies. It is provided with a decorated arch and jaroka or hanging balconies. There is a residential place for guards called Sopani Mahal nearby. From here, two doors diverge. One via the tunnel to other structures within the fort. The sliding door of the Andheri pole would have hidden this gate. The other gate was used by normal soldiers. The other entrance gates of the fort are in various other directions. Suraj Pole. It is a smaller gateway along the eastern fortification wall facing east. Sat Pole. It is the loftiest gateway facing south and located on the western side of the fort. Dilli Pole is located on the northwest corner facing north. In 1454, the Mewar king Maharana Kumbha captured the fort. In 1516, Mahmud Khilji, the Sultan of Malwa, occupied Ranthambore, but soon the Mewar king Rana Sanga won it back. In 1528, after Rana Sanga's death, it was assigned to his two sons, Vikramaditya and Uday Singh, who were kept under the shadow of their uncle, Rao Surajmal Hada. Vikramaditya, when he became the Maharana, lost the Ranthambore Fort to Sultan Bahadur Shah of Gujarat. After the death of Sultan Bahadur Shah, Sher Shah Suri captured it and gave it to one of his Afghan generals to manage. Around 1558 AD, the Ranthambore Fort was sold by the Afghan general to Rao Surjan Hada, the ruler of Bundi. In 1568 AD, the Mughal Emperor Akbar laid a siege on Ranthambore Fort. He had recently captured Chittorgarh and had massacred many people there. Rao Surjan Hada initially tried to resist the siege, but soon he bowed down to mounting pressure from Akbar's army outside the fort. He had to concede the fort to Akbar. He was made to vacate the fort and sent to Bundi. Akbar appointed Mehtar Khan to be the commander of the Mughal garrison at Ranthambore Fort. The fort remained with the Mughals until mid-18th century. In 1763, Sawai Madhopur, the ruler of Jaipur, fortified the nearby place and named it Sawai Madhopur. He asked the Mughal emperor to hand over Ranthambore to him to prevent the attack of Marathas. 2 years later, the Mughals handed over the fort to the Jaipur state. During the British Raj, this area was under the Jaipur state. Within the fort complex, there are various important structures. Hamir Palace. This is the royal palace attributed to Hamir Dev. The eastern wing of the palace is 3-storied, while other sides are single-storied. In the northeast corner, there is an underground story. The ground floor is multi-chambered with all cells interconnected by small doorways and a common veranda. The ceiling of this veranda rests on plain pillars. The pillars and ceilings are highly ornamented. The eastern facade of the palace is provided with many jharokas. The Hamir Kacheri is located on the northwest corner of the fort near the Delhi Gate. Rani Mahal. This is the place where the queens and other women of royal significance would reside. Badal Mahal, or Palace in the Clouds, is a residential complex within the fort which offers panoramic view of the sanctuary below. Dola Mahal is another palace complex within the fort premises. Battis Kambon Ka Chhatri. This is a memorial built for someone dated by the ASI to the 18th century. It's a three-tiered structure. The top terrace has 32 pillars or Battis Kambas arranged in 2 rows on each side. There are a few water tanks in the fort premises that would have provided drinking water to those residing inside. There are also many places of worship within the fort belonging to different religions of those times. The Trinetra Ganesh temple is one of the most popular spots within the fort. The Ganeshji idol is made from red Karauli stone and is shown without the elephant trunk and with 3 eyes. Ganeshji is placed with his 2 wives, Riddhi and Siddhi, and 2 children, Shubh and Labh.